Ever take an Uber and start feeling, hey, I'm hungry? Well, now UberEATS will let you order food directly in the app so that you don't have to bother drivers about going through the Taco Bell drive-thru. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Now, we have talked about Uber a lot on this channel, obviously. And I have criticized Uber's business model from top to bottom, left to right, diagonally. I went 180 in a circle, just the way it is. I don't like much of their I don't like the way they run most of their businesses. However, one thing I have always been fairly consistent on, I've always told them, I've always not told them, I've always said that UberEATS was a bright spot in the company because it's actually, now it pays fair. It used to not pay fair, ironically. That was my first video, was why you shouldn't drive for them. But now it pays fairly fair. You get tips. It's a lot more leisurely. It's a lot less wear and tear in your car. And unlike the rideshare aspect, UberEATS actually makes money for the company. So it did not surprise me at all to find that they would be putting it on the Uber app to make it easier for people to buy food with them. However, before we talk about any of that, let's have a word from our sponsors. Times are changing for gig workers and the gig economy, and there are a lot more gigs from a lot more companies than there used to be. That's why when people ask me where they can go to find resources for the gig economy, I recommend gigworker.com. At this site, you can see what other gig workers are doing and discover better opportunities from industries, companies, resources, and even a forum where you can talk with other people in the gig economy. Gigworker.com is a great resource site whether you work for Uber, Lyft, Postmates, DoorDash, TaxRabbit, Thumbtack, Upwork, whatever. There's a gig for you and there's a forum for you on gigworker.com. Gigworker.com for all your gigs. And so here we are on The Verge. There was a version of this article on Vox, but I've decided I don't really want to read from Vox right now, and you'll know why if you watch another video I uploaded today. And it says, Uber starts allowing Eats orders inside the main app. Just 1 week after CEO Dara Khosrowshahi hinted that Uber was experimenting with cross-promoting its food delivery service in the company's main ride-hailing app, TechCrunch has dug up exactly what that looks like. The company is currently rolling out a way for customers to place Eats food delivery orders inside the main Uber app. If a customer does not already have the standalone Uber Eats app and lives in one of the hundreds of cities where Eats operates alongside ride-hailing, but crucially one where there are no scooters or bikes available, meaning New York, Los Angeles, or San Francisco are not included here, the Eats logo will now show up in the top right corner of the main Uber app. Tapping the logo will bring up a fully functioning web browser version of Uber Eats where the customers can place an order just like they would in the Eats main app. Uber says this integration is now live in those markets on 100% of iOS devices, while the Android rollouts began this week and is about up to 17%. It's always bias against the Android users. The Apple users, what do they do that they get the app first? I mean, on the other hand, Android users have Maximo, so anyway, continuing. The company declined to share any feedback it's collected on the Eats integration. Originally launched in 2014 as Uber Fresh, which is, I can see why they changed that because, I'm sorry. I don't know how fresh it is when I'm ordering a burger and fries from Denny's. Uber Eats was part of the main Uber app until the company spun it out at the end of 2015. Khosrowshahi said last week on a conference call with investors that Uber was in the very, very early stages of exploring the many, many ways in which Uber's ride business can help continue to build its Eats business and vice versa, and said that the company has been very, very encouraged early returns. I love how he stresses very, 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 that's kind of like him like, yes, it's very, very good, stock go up, 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 up. So, anyway, Khosrowshahi's not a leader. He's a marketing director, in my opinion. Uber is eager to promote Eats for a few reasons. Eats generated $536 million in revenue for Uber in the first quarter of 2019, and the company believes will only continue to grow. Quote, it is a huge category, and there are some folks that believe that the food category can be larger than the rides category, Khosrowshahi said last week. Food delivery is indeed growing so fast that an entire industry of ghost restaurants has sprung up to serve the demand. Uber also loves Eats because it gives the company a way into countries that would otherwise block or hamper its ride-hailing service. By establishing the Eats service in these markets, the company believes its chances increase of eventually introducing ride-hailing. Yeah, makes sense. To that end, Uber views Eats as a way to soak up some of the massive losses attributable to ride-hailing business, and since Eats is attracting lots of new customers who didn't already use Uber for ride-hailing, it's possible Uber will eventually try the reverse of this cross-promotion integration. Khosrowshahi said last week that 50% of Eats customers don't use Uber for ride-hailing, meaning the food industry Food delivery service is bringing in a lot of new users. Quote, these are the customers that we can upsell into the ride business. Well, you're not really upselling because the rides don't make you money. The food does. Anyway, let's click, let's see here. Let's click this link. I don't know how TechCrunch is going to look with the way I've framed this video. It might look a little weird. Yeah, that looks a little weird. I'm sorry to say. But let's look at what this looks like. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, there's the app, and you tap Uber Eats. And by the way, I can see why this is like convenient and smart at the same time. Like, as much as I'm like kind of mocking Uber for doing this because of the way they're framing this, like, oh, we'll use the food to sell the rides. Like, you don't want the food to sell the rides. You want the rides to sell the food because that's where the money is. It truly is a smart move, especially for all of those people who want to get food on the drive-thru on the way home. Now the driver's going to say, hey, well, you could just buy the food through Uber Eats. Who knows? Maybe they'll get that driver, and, I don't know. I don't know. This is just very smart, though. I mean, if I'm coming home from the airport, open the Uber Eats app, have some food delivered on the way while I'm going home. It'll be there by the time I get there or a minute or so afterwards. So, yeah, this is actually really smart, and it makes sense that Uber would want to push the Uber Eats more. Again, this is the only thing they make money on. And the scooters, which is very, very small considering they're not really out there very much. But the food does make them a lot of money. The ride sharing doesn't. So cross promotion just makes sense. This synergy, integration, whatever you want to call it, there's a bunch of dopey terms for it now. I'm kind of surprised they weren't doing it sooner. I mean, at one point it was part of the Uber app, and then it split, and now apparently someone's gone on record and said, hey, you know what? That's not really the greatest thing we could be doing. We should really integrate them together, because who wants to download two separate apps? Like, have one app with all the services on it. It's just the Uber app, and you can consolidate those users. You can have them trying out the other services. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It absolutely makes perfect sense, and I'm surprised it took them this long to figure this out. Of course, they seem to be a little slow on the uptake on a lot of things, including the fact that they are going to get regulated soon if they don't pay the drivers well. But that's another topic for another day. This is going to be a short one. I think my next video, which should prove to be a little controversial, that's going to be the long one. So anyway, what do you folks think about this? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if gas prices are getting you a little on the downside, check out the GetUpside app below. It's totally free, but you get cash back on every gas purchase. Subscribe to the Apptrepreneur Vlogs channel, and if you want to talk to me or other fellow rideshare drivers, check us out on the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, fillet responsibly. Have a good one.